really, really pretty. I wish the snow, like back in my youth, when it fell, it kind of stayed. I would. That's the kind of winter I prefer. I can't stand this snow melt winter.
Yeah, Andre, how you doing? Traveling?
I'm doing
and all that
good.
business.
I'm doing good. It's been a busy few days here in Norway, where I am for a couple of more days. So yeah, I've been trying to get some content produced and everything in spite of that. So yeah, doing good.
Sounds good.
My hours in the gym and everything.
We also have Scribe Light, who's all in love.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm glad to see that Chris Braley has become the Lovisher today.
The what?
That's right.
Good one.
The Lovisher?
Yeah, look at his avatar.
Yeah, Punisher, love the Punisher, the Lovisher.
The Lovisher.
Look, I had to do something. Scribe came in. That's beautiful.
I set the standard.
Yeah, you did. You set the standard.
You kiss you to death?
I had 30 seconds to find something, and this is what I found.
There you go.
I knew Paul was coming. I said, I've got to get something Punisher up for Paul.
Yeah.
So this is my Valentine to you, Paul, and Scribe, and Andre, and Tom. I'm glad to be here.
It's much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Does his arrows like make you fall in love instead of kill you?
He kills you with kindness is what he does.
That's just another greeting card holiday.
It is indeed. We also have Chris coming in here with that logo is awesome. Just love it. How you doing, Chris?
It kind of looks like a big red butt or something. I'm not sure.
Actually, it looks like a hair pick.
Yeah,
like a girl's hair pick.
Does. Sure. Yeah, like a Halloween hair pick with a
heart on the end.
Nightmare Before hair pick. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's like, it looks like something you get right at like Spencer's or Hot Topic. Yeah.
Got it at Hot Topic. Yeah, I'm Hot Topic. Yeah. I'm glad to be here.
Did you steal that or draw that yourself?
Oh, totally stolen. Yes,
okay.
Totally stolen. Don't know who I stole it from. I can't even give them credit for it. It's Petiopolis from Punisher Central, made in February 2012. So a nice little 13-year-old thing for them. Looks like it was drawn by a 13-year-old, actually.
Kind of. It's probably about the age they were when they did that.
Maybe.
But we're glad to have Scribe and Chris and Paul here with us this morning. We may have some more people bop in as we get going. We only have Andre for a little bit, so let's get into some of these super chats, and then we'll get into the topic at hand. Dr. Longdongler sends in £1.99 to remind you to pound that like button if you haven't done it already. Please do, and thank you, Dr. Longdongler. Got Hypergiver 2 says, for those planning on celebrating Valentine's in the traditional manner, who's bringing the priest? Is there something? Oh, boy. He's been getting into all this traditional stuff. So what does a priest have to do with Valentine's Day? Is it Saint Valentine or?
And what is the tradition for Valentine's anyway? I mean, in Norway, it's just like something that the merchant's important to sell some extra stuff. There's like no real tradition of it.
Yeah. When I type it in, all I can find is stuff about Saint Valentine. So
well, probably you're supposed to get married or something.
Well, he was beheaded. I think he was beheaded on Valentine's Day. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, you'll have to fill me in on that. What exactly you're getting at there?
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Tweaky Kid, somebody I ain't seen around for a while, but has been around for 46 months. Speaking of members, Andre, are we going to be doing something for the members this weekend?
Hopefully, we'll get back to it. Maybe on Sunday.
All right. Yeah, we got to do something. We're way overdue, so we apologize for that. But yeah. So with that, let's keep on rolling. We got Patrick Robinson, who sends in $4.99, says, this Valentine's Day, you can't hurry love, but you can buy it for $999. Ask Mexican Iron Man for details. That's all you got to do. Then we got Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle, who's gifting memberships, just giving them away. And he also has been a member for 4 months. Thank you for that and the support. TGV Monster sends in 2 and says, hi, everybody. Happy Friday. But sadly, I work weekends. Well, I don't even know what a day off is, TGV Monster. That's all right. We got Everything Kurtzman Touches Dies, who says, really loved Cobra Kai ending. It was all right. I thought it was pretty good. They did pretty much stick the landing for the most part. I had some issues with the final season overall, but I thought it was okay. There's a few things I wish they had done, and I'm not so sure why they didn't, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Anybody else finish watching Cobra Kai over the last few days?
Not me.
Guess I'm the only one. Yeah, I managed to squeeze it in. Dark King says with a member chat, Captain America is performing as per expectations poorly. In other news, water is wet. Any sign of genuinely good Marvel films on the horizon? The best I can see for Thunderbolts is not shit. Well, that actually is the one that tested the best of the 3 films that are coming out this year. So we'll see on that. But
in relative terms.
In relative terms, yeah. But no, yeah, it's not boding well for Captain Anti-America. We're about to get into that because actually its previews were over $5 million less than Ant-Man 3. So that's not good.
Yeah. No, because, Deadline Hollywood, they touted it's bigger than Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's supposed to be bigger than Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's supposed to be leagues and bounds ahead. That it's behind Ant-Man Quantumania, which you will recall flopped in the end. Not a great start.
And we'll get back into that in a moment. Sean the Movie Man says Cobra Kai never dies. Wow, what a fantastic ending to the show.
Okay.
Sorry, I got a call.
Yeah, I'm still a few seasons behind on Cobra Kai, so I can't comment on that just yet.
Damn. All right. Anyway, John Kreese is the GOAT. If only Star Wars had put this love into Luke, Han, and Leia, right?
Yeah, if only things could get the same level of love as did Cobra Kai. Again, I don't know what's happened in the most recent seasons, but certainly the way that it started, if only more things could get that kind of love, then we really could be about the movies and series that we love, rather than things we didn't mean to hate, but accidentally have come to do.
I mean, you got to give Cobra Kai credit for already the last part of this early part, way before all the politics got involved. They had already separated the men and the women as far as sports goes, so got to give them credit on that. But yeah, no, I think most people will enjoy the show. I think it ended pretty well. Matthew W. says, with a member chat for 39 months, big surprise, another bad Marvel movie that no one cares about. I haven't seen any marketing for this thing, really. I've seen plenty, but
yeah.
Yeah, we're about to get into that. And Pack and Proton sends in 2 and says, Cap 4 predictions 60 to 70 million 3-day opening. Well, Pack and Protons, you're probably pretty close there. What was Ant-Man's opening, the last one?
Well, that opened to 105 million, and this was touted as a huge opening. Of course, it collapsed completely and utterly in its second weekend. So that's kind of like the big thing. If it can open to more than Ant-Man in its 4-day week, because remember, Ant-Man did the same thing. It opened to 105 million in 4-day opening, as far as memory serves. If this movie can't beat that, that's bad, because that means that Ant-Man, which flopped, would have beaten Captain America, which is not a great start. I think the current projections, the last updated projections we saw, was 80 million over the 3-day weekend, 95 over the 4-day weekend. So on a regular 3-day, 80 million. I think that with the word of mouth effect, it's probably going to be somewhere between 60 and 70 million for the 3-day. That's what I think. And that's a complete and total disaster, because that means it will actually be less attended than was the Incredible Hulk back in 2008.
Yeah, and you made that point in your video earlier today, and I got to pretty much agree with your assessment there, because, that's where it's looking right now, that this is about pretty much going to probably land.
Didn't Ant-Man Quantumania do, like, even better previews, like $18,000?
Yeah, it did like 5 or 6 more million.
Okay.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, it did really good in previews. Because
But this
we've been
thing
told
also
the whole time that this was the one. This was the one that was going to launch Kang and fix everything. Boy,
That's
it wasn't.
right.
That wrong. No, and then this one actually has a little bit of competition. So it'll be curious to see how that is handled, because even though I doubt the competition will open at number 1, Paddington 3 I don't think is something that they should sleep on. Because I wonder if when it's all said and done and the dust settles, Paddington 3 ends up making more money than Captain America 4 does.
You know, there's another movie coming out this weekend. It's international. I don't know how well it will do, but it is the first movie outside of Hollywood animated film to do over $1 billion. It's that Ninja 2. It's a sequel. Looks like a Pixar movie. It looks fantastic. We've got a story going up on it over on Bleeding Fool in about an hour, but I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it is hitting the States this weekend also. May give a run on Paddington. I don't know how much it's going to impact Brave New Meh.
Captain America.
Yeah. Brave New Boar. I think that's what our reviewer called it.
Yeah. Have you seen it yet?
No, I'm kind of boycotting Marvel stuff right now.
Yeah.
And I love Captain America. My favorite 2 movies are First Avenger and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, well, Captain America ain't here, so...
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Anyone else on the panel that have had the chance to see the movie since Wednesday?
I'm thinking of actually sending a note out to my parishioners to ask them whether they want me to put myself through it, just to review it.
The answer will be yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They want to torture me.
Yeah, they
I've
want
seen
to
enough-
hear your thoughts on 5 minutes worth of Red Hulk.
I've seen enough clips of it on YouTube at this point that people have sort of like snuck in that I've seen every major action scene and they all look terrible and look it's so green screen and fake, and the CGI on that final fight. Oh man. Oh, it just looks terrible.
Is it worse than the train fight scene in Wakanda?
I never watched Wakanda. I have no idea. The second
was-
movie? Never
first-
bothered.
The
don't
first
even
one you mean, or the
remember.
second one?
No, the first one. Sorry.
The first one.
Oh, Black Panther. Oh yeah,
Black
no.
Panther,
Is it
that was
as
terrible.
bad? You know, kind of yes, because it's obviously mixed with live action, whereas that one was completely CGI.
Yeah, that
and
was
everything.
100% CGI.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
bendy, squishy people.
Yeah, and so in this case, at least in some instances, Anthony Mackie's actually in the shot, and with the contrast between him and what's obviously green screen and everything else around him just doesn't fit and looks so fake. It actually is probably worse than just the pure CGI of Black Panther.
That was horrible. It was laughable. It wasn't a
understand-
bad movie, and then that thing at the very end
Yeah.
was just stupid.
Imagine, I know that it's tied into 2 other MCU movies that are equally depressing: The Incredible Hulk
Mm-hmm.
and, of course, Eternals. So,
Well, Incredible Hulk is a masterpiece compared to Eternals in this thing,
well,
I gotta say.
Incredible
But,
Hulk is actually one of the better movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
I always thought it was tremendously underrated.
Yeah,
I
and the
never
fact that they're-
thought. I never thought the Internals was. How can I say it? It wasn't bad in what has now become the traditional bad Marvel movie. It was just a big nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't find it horrific. Like, okay, it
was horrifically forgettable.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
exactly right. No, that I agree with. But I know this is all these different diverse cast and kind of did its thing and meandered along. I mean, it wasn't bad in the Shang-Chi way. That was bad.
Mhm.
Speaking of rubbery CG fight scenes, the scene on the scaffolding of the building in
Right.
Shang-Chi was laughably awful. When you're used to watching Hong Kong kung fu movies where everybody is there doing it for real, right? Just the fantastic choreography of those the classic Hong Kong.
Well, that's why I didn't watch Shang-Chi for more than a few minutes. When the opening scene was nothing but a army of CGI people kung fu fighting, I'm like, oh no, and shut it off.
I don't know whether those were CGI at the beginning, but certainly the fight scene on the building.
All the army was. I don't know about what's his face, the main dude, but they all were. They looked so bad. I was just like,
it was just horrible. And then you had the copy of Crouching Tiger's Exploding Lion or whatever.
Yeah, that was the best part of the movie right there.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I YouTube just randomly, just as a note, recommended me the other day the fight scene from the end of Rob Roy. Have you guys ever seen Rob Roy with Liam
the
Neeson and everything?
Scottish movie.
Yeah, the Scottish deal. Him and Tim Roth,
Oh,
and
okay.
it is there. It's obvious this is before the time of CGI and everything else, and just a fight between two individuals that is completely in reality, the weight of every move, the tension, everything. And it doesn't have explosions. It doesn't have crazy music
Right.
and noises and things. It's just it's a combat between individuals where you feel in a visceral way the conflict, both in a physical sense and also in a metaphorical sense between the two characters. And you compare that to any of the CGI cartoonish nonsense that has no weight to it, either thematically, narratively, or physically in watching it. And it seems like such a joke. It's like, put two guys in a room and actually have them fight for all intents and purposes. It worked for Rocky. Why do you need to have all this flash and nonsense all over the place?
Well, also one of my main objections is the completely defying the laws of physics.
Yes, that
So
doesn't help.
yeah, I'm okay. I kind of, you're stretching credulity a little bit, but if you're Winter Soldier and a giant gasoline truck is coming at you, you can't lift up your arm and just punch it over the top of everybody, as we saw in the trailer for the
TV series.
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
He does, even though he has super serum, he doesn't. You have to have mass. Mass has to come into play with these things, and I mean, especially when you see that still of, and I'm dreading to see Red Hulk punching, not Captain America, because again, you've got this whole deal. You got mass against non-mass, and again, yeah, I get it. You're going to have fun with these superheroes, but as Robert Meyer Burnett calls it, verisimilitude.
Yes.
You just don't believe it at all. That's the problem.
And this is what I spoke with Paulie about yesterday, where we contrasted the fight scenes in Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Where you could feel the gravity
Yep.
and weight and the power of every
Yes.
single punch and every single kick.
Yes.
You don't do that here. In fact, there's one kick in particular which is completely choreographed, and you can physically see that there is absolutely no mass, no gravity behind it whatsoever. It's just a pure visual thing, and it wouldn't hurt a fly. And it's treated as like this massive thing. So like whoever is doing the stunts and the action scenes for Marvel right now, because it's not the director, they can't hack it the same way that the John Wick guys could, because they're the ones that used to do the Marvel stunts.
Well, that's because they're doing cunning stunts.
Yeah, exactly. But now, I mean, the fight scenes I thought were awful, and I don't believe them because of exactly as you say, the gravity is all wrong. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it
That's the
and
wire
at some
stuff
point
too.
it catches up to you, and you can't. You just okay. I know
Well,
I'm
that's
supposed to have fun, but I'm also supposed to believe it.
That's been a problem since they've been introducing the wire foo stuff to begin with. So it's not even CGI. Sometimes it's the gravity comes in when everybody's wearing wires, and you can tell there's no weight to them.
But
Well, it's
that's
not
a-
even.
sorry.
It's trying to represent the relative power levels of characters in the situations that they're being presented in. Like, so for example, in the first Incredible Hulk movie, Tim Roth's character has the super soldier serum, and the Hulk kicks him into a tree and breaks him in half, and it's brutal. And then in Captain America, or I should say Falcon America here, you see him being kicked by the Red Hulk, and he has no super soldier serum, and yet he just shrugs it off. And these things do not match. And yes, in comic book movies, you're going to have over the top action, but it has to be relative to the general reality of the world you're being presented in. Captain America can't lift an 18-wheeler by himself.
No.
Okay, he in Winter Soldier, as we saw, he had physical combat with people that was 3 touches above what a regular human could do, which is what Captain America is supposed to be able to, but not much beyond that. he went up against Thanos by himself, and he got his arm ripped open, and he got practically pounded into the dirt, because that makes sense. It's relative to the characters as they're presented. You can't have, like Paul says, an absence of physics, even comic book physics, because then you remove the conflict in these fights. And then half the time, that's when the superheroes and the bad guys show off their chops, is in these physical conflicts. And if there's no weight to them in visually, then there's no weight to them narratively either.
Yeah, and the same thing happens in the new Star Treks, where vessels the size of the Starship Enterprise can fly around like a crop duster. Now, I have had people send me notes, but it's got inertial dampeners. So it's able to fly around. Like, yeah.
Heisenberg compensators. Heisenberg compensator.
Yeah. No, and even if that were true, that makes it less fun. These things should not be able to turn on a dime. It's, again, I actually had that problem in Picard 3 as the Enterprise, the Picard Enterprise. Is it called Enterprise in TNG?
Yeah, it's still the Enterprise.
It's just a different.
Sorry, I've blanked out.
Yeah, basically the Enterprise in Star Trek, the original series, that's just Enterprise. And then in the movies, it's Enterprise A from movie 5 onwards.
Right.
And then B and C, that happens in the 80 years between the original
No bloody
series
B, no bloody C.
And I mean, and that was part of the fun of TOS, is that it was like an aircraft carrier, and you couldn't turn it on a dime. That's got to be part of the plot, right? So anyways, yeah, in fact, I think 3D animation has been a bane to storytelling, not an assistant.
I'd be inclined to agree with that,
because I can do anything I want now. I can zoom, just watch the trailer to the latest Strange New Worlds, and you
don't have to focus on story at all. You can just wow everyone with
I mean, my eyes rolled in the back of my head as I was watching all these giant space vessels whipping around like sand fleas.
Mm-hmm.
It's again, I might be the only person who recognizes this, but I think even if you're ignorant about this stuff, if you treat these vessels with the size that they have, I think you will get a better sense of what is going on there. I mean, I think there's a certain responsibility for people who are doing sci-fi shows to actually impart some science to the audience.
Well, and that's why people had a lot of problems with the JJ films, because you have ships that wouldn't even be able to enter the atmosphere of some of these planets, like the way as big as the Enterprises in those movies.
And
they got it going
in field around it that prevents the atmosphere from making it burst into flames.
Yeah, and it goes in and out of the water and shit. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well,
this is why they invented beaming.
In the very last episode of Discovery, they ditch their starship right on the planet. They do a kamikaze dive into the planet. Like, please.
I'm not even that smart when it comes to sciencey stuff, and I even know some of the stupid shit they did in Discovery and the
my favorite
films.
My favorite was they did one of those Discovery shorts. I forget what they were called, but they were like these little short films about characters.
Short
treks or whatever. And they're standing like on the bridge of the Enterprise or whatever, the Discovery, and out the window in deep space they see a shooting star. Like that's not how that works. No. It was just
it's actually complete blackness.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
anyways,
is there anything more to say about Captain Falcon?
Well, I am a little curious. I'm sorry. Go on, Andre.
No, I was just going to say that so far, we have Thursday's numbers. Thursday numbers, they're trying to sell as if it's hot shit because they're bigger Thursday numbers than a movie that came out more than a decade ago, namely The Winter Soldiers. But they're far less than Ant-Man. And that is really the only comparison we should be looking at right now in this moment. So
Yeah.
not a great start. That's the
And if
final
anything-
word on Cap after we get through Chris's, because you were saying something.
Well, I was kind of curious when we thought that the Marvel movies sort of lost their way with the CGI. You know, we brought up a very good example with Winter Soldier. And I always thought the Nolan Batman films handled it really well. And some of the DCU handled it
I
well.
will say I noticed people started talking about the CGI when it came to Marvel probably around Black Panther. Like, that's the first time I really remember anybody really griping about the CGI. Because even prior to that, yeah, there were some questionable moments here and there, but nothing that really took you out of the movie. Because that's where, like, I mean, crappy CGI is crappier with a crappy movie. Right?
Well, yeah, because even the first Spider-Man movie with Sam Raimi was like
but there's some shots in that
there's
some shots in that first movie though that actually fooled me, and I'm nobody's fool when it comes to CGI. But yeah, I think part of the problem we also have here when it comes to CGI, and that's less to do with the CGI itself and more to do with the shitty movie, right? Like, that's why I say you notice the shitty CGI, the shittier the film is.
Sure.
But the other side of it is I think we have animators who are emulating CGI that they've been seeing for the last 25 years. That's part of the problem. So instead of actually trying to make shit look realistic, they're just making it look like CGI has for all this time. And it's the same problem if you have AI working on it, because all the AI is doing is working off of CGI special effects that we've had for the last 25, 30 years.
Well, and they're probably just being pushed. We got a deadline. We've
Yeah.
set the deadline. We haven't got the movie finished. Let's go. Let's go.
There's
let's
that
go.
too, right? Like, and the only times I've seen anybody try to do any advancements have been either way back with Avatar or with not Peter Jackson, the Matt Reeves and what's his face who started it, I can't remember now, Apes trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, that was the last time they really tried to do any advancements in trying to do anything with special effects to try and make them look more photorealistic, because otherwise they've been just sitting there in the same place they've been for the last 20 years.
Sure.
No, Avatar was brilliantly done. That was pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's the last time we've had any major leaps in it.
The other thing that very few people talk about, and it bothers me, because everything bothers me in my own little world, is that again, if you go to the Strange New World season 3 trailer, what you'll notice is that they don't treat the camera in a way. How can I say this? One of the brilliance of Pixar is that they had a rule where the camera had to behave like it was in a physical space. You couldn't just zoom the camera around, which you can in 3D. You can,
unfortunately, no, yeah.
You can put it anywhere, yeah. But if you watch Pixar movies, their brilliance is that, oh, this is on a crane, this is on a dolly, oh, this is a push-in.
Right.
They don't just zoom the 3D camera willy-nilly around because they're able to do it. And if you watch the Strange New World thing, it's spinning around and it's going through things that no cinematographer would be able to pull off. Yes, it's in space. I get it. But you know, so they break so many rules. The physics of the large vessels and the fact that they're just shoving the cameras wherever they want to go. And it takes complete. And the only reason I mention what Pixar does is because I think those of us who have watched movies for as long as we have, we've got it kind of burned into our brain, the limits of what a camera can do. Because I remember when Steadicam first came around and you could follow someone around and the camera wasn't bouncing around, you immediately went, wow, this is something new. We have not seen this before. And then eventually, you know, we went on to every single shot had to have a movement. And then
the drone shots and all that stuff.
But these were all shaky cam. Even shaky cam was a terrestrial invention, right? Even if we were overdoing it. But take a look at the Strange New World stuff. The camera, it can go anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Like
there's no physical limitations to where it can be. There's no tripod in space. And I think it drives me nuts.
No, I totally agree with you, Paul. And I think that's a good point too. Because it's like everything's on a drone camera, right? We're not used to that. Yes, once in a while for one cool shot here and there or something like that. But like You can't do that for the entire thing. Like it does. It takes you completely out of the element. And you're 100% right. And it's funny you bring that up because I was thinking that kind of similarly when I was watching scenes from Jurassic Park the other day compared to some modern stuff. And it's like, what's so different about these in comparison? Because the CGI is not any better. In fact, if anything, you look at the CGI itself, it is very primal in its state. It's just the way it was shot. Steven shot it like an actual movie, right? Like that's why it looks like it does. And of course, a majority of it is not CGI, and that's as you learn when you go back and watch
giant puppetry.
Yeah, you realize later on how much isn't. But yeah, like, and we thought it was at the time. But yeah, no, it is. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's a lot of it's how things are shot, and a lot of these Marvel movies, gravity goes out the window, and it's the same thing with everything else. And gravity is a big problem, and that has always been a problem with computer generated images, is trying to get gravity correct and how weight feels in space, or however you want to explain it.
In the Avengers, I think it was the first Avengers movie, where they have this kind of drone shot where they circle around all the Avengers as they pull out their gear, and
the Michael Bay shot, yeah.
Iron Man's mask flips down and Hulk's in. That was a great shot.
But it leads up to that, and the rest of the film is shot like a movie. You're right. Yeah.
And so that shot became climactic, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to keep these little tricky things in your back pocket just so they're special when you need them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that are special, we got a few super chats on this note, and then we're going to move into our second story before we lose Andre, because we really want to get his feelings on this. We got Cannon Barnes, who says, "Greetings, everyone. Falcon America New World Order is underwhelming, and the box office will resemble the same. Even Deadline agrees now." Oh, I haven't seen the Deadline headline. But yeah. Thank you for that, Cannon
some
Barnes.
updates there.
I'll go check that out while we got a second here, and then we'll get into the other news here in just a moment. Let's see here. Deadline. Or do you got it, Andre?
Yeah, I'm checking it, so you just carry on.
Okay, because I was looking for other ones that have to do with what we're talking about here. Cannon Barnes also says Jurassic Park effects have aged like a wonderful fine wine. Yeah.
That's because they're more than you think are practical.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Superman supposed to be filled with practical? Isn't that the promise that Gunn has made?
A bunch of them are, yeah. Robert Montoya says, "Hey, Midnight's Edge, how financially successful is the American movie biz now? Is any company making good money?" Yeah, there's money to be made. The biggest snafu, I would say, is streaming. And we got, like, the numbers that we saw last week on the Disney side of things, where the amount of money they're pumping into Disney Plus compared to the amount of money they're making, it just doesn't make no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And especially when they're still making more than that on physical media and they're trying to kill it. And I think I basically come to the conclusion at this point, if they were smart, this whole streaming thing should have been to kill cable and not kill theaters. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
I would be curious to know which of the major studios is actually making a significant profit at this point.
Sony is probably doing okay because...
Yeah, that's the thing. Because the people who are doing okay, ignore the major studios because they're not doing okay and they're doing many more things other than just film. The film production companies that are doing okay right now are the ones who are able to make a movie at a relatively small cost and then sell it to someone else at a profit for someone else who takes over the risk. It's a high-risk industry, but they're the ones doing the best right now. Your A24s, I was about
even
to say
the Lionsgate
features,
strategy is probably more profitable than a lot of other studios, despite them having bomb after bomb.
Yeah, and the case with Lionsgate, their problem is that it's the companies that sell their movies to Lionsgate. Like, for instance, a company that made the Crow remake and that made Borderlands, they did okay because Lionsgate assumed so much of the risk. So smaller production companies that have the right deal, they are the ones that can do okay right now. But hey, it's still risky because, I mean, you have Millennium that, insofar as we know, haven't been able to sell Red Sonja yet. So it's always a crapshoot. The film business is risky.
It is.
Even riskier when you decide not to honor the lore of the characters that you're doing movies about.
Absolutely.
There's that too, yeah. And it sounds like you didn't find anything on the Deadline website.
Yeah, no, the only thing I found is the same article that we went through already, where they do admit that the Thursday preview, they try to sell it as a huge thing, but if you read it, you'll find that it's actually far below Ant-Man. So yeah, they do tacitly admit that things aren't great.
Yeah. So with that, we have one other story I wanted to get to before we lose Andre. Anyway, we will get back into the super chats in just a few minutes here, because we do have quite a few more here. But we got our first look at He-Man, or should I say Prince Adam. Now, actually, this comes on the heels of some other casting news, isn't that right, Andre? Because we got we got the He-Man's parents cast, and we also got the Sorceress cast, and Fisto for that matter. But the one that stuck out to us was the Sorceress.
This is the first casting in the movie that we are actually excited about. Morena Baccarin as the Sorcerer. This is the first casting we're like, yes, they nailed it.
Exactly. But now we got our first look, and this actually is kind of a okay. Actually, I have to take a moment, because I've been sitting here going, look, this movie's never going to happen, or I won't believe it's happening until I actually see something physical from the set. Motherfucker. If we didn't get that.
Prince
Finally,
Adam. Yeah.
Prince Adam. And does not look...
It looks like a grown up.
Hold that picture right there, because there we can see the sword and everything.
At least the sword looks okay.
Sword looks great. I guess it depends on the context. Is this as far as I understand it, this is another fish out of water, He-Man comes to Earth situation, which I think is stupid.
This is what we have surmised from before, because we did a breakdown of all the information that was known as of 2 drafts ago. And 2 drafts ago, the bulk of the story would take place on Earth. And then we know that there has been another pass at the script, so it has been rewritten since, but we do not know how extensive a rewrite that pass was. But we do know now, though, based on this picture, that the movie still takes place at least partially on Earth, because the original concept for the movie is that in childhood, Prince Adam is somehow taken to Earth, and he grows up on Earth. And then later, when he comes of age, that is when he returns to Eternia, one way or the other, to assume the mantle of He-Man and to take the land back from Skeletor, something like that.
He looks good.
Which is a twist on the original 1987 movie, and not the original source material, which has nothing to do with Earth.
Wait, isn't that the same plot as Jupiter Ascending?
There are some similarities there as well, but I think
nobody watched that movie.
I did see it. It wasn't half bad.
Thanks for
what's her name from that '70s show? She's unknowingly
Mila
Kunis is it's basically kind of a Cinderella. It's Channing Tatum, Mila Kunis. It's a kind of a Cinderella kind of thing where she's basically just some scrub on Earth, but she's unknowingly the intergalactic princess of a giant empire, and she has to be taken back.
Movie?
Yes,
that was unwatchable.
Oh, I know. But I mean, I was thinking this plot is right out. It's not a new plot by no means. The secret royalty who doesn't know that they're royalty kind of thing. But my first thought is
reversal on the OG film. But yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But anyway,
I like the first frame that you showed, because they could have a whole thing. That's quite the sword you got, lad. Can I take a look at it? So this is bigger than 6 inches within the framework of our laws in this.
What are you planning on doing with that there sword?
In this township?
All I will say is a good thing that he's not in England, because in England you walk around with a knife like that, that's going to get you into trouble.
Big
Unless you're Muslim.
That's right.
In a land of time, it's going to be fine. But
so, lad, are you compensating for something there? That's a mighty big knife you got.
Yeah. What I will say about the sword, though, Tom, go back to the other picture where we see the sword.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Scribe on this one. It's not that the sword looks good. That sword looks fantastic. That is a 1-to-1 replica of the toy and cartoon sword. If you were to take that sword and make a real version of it, that's exactly what it looks like. So to put a positive spin on this, because I try to be positive when I can, and the positive side here is that, yeah, the sword is fantastic. Prince Adam, or at least he's wearing pink, so there's that. And I will also say that compared to some of the images that we saw before, doesn't look as bad as it could have. But I do wish that for characters who are blonde, that Hollywood could just freaking learn that there's no way that you can dye someone who isn't a natural blonde and have them look natural
That's a
blonde.
wig,
Going
Andre.
to
There's
look-
no way that's his hair.
But
Yeah,
you know
well,
what? He
it's
looks
going to-
pretty good. And
Yeah,
it looks like
are
he's
you
pretty
kidding?
buff under that shirt.
The buff,
Yeah,
that's not what I'm
that's-
talking about. This part of the wig, the hair, the face, it all looks horrible. Oh my
I like it. I think it's fine. Looks
but you're
natural.
half gay.
He-Man always looked gay.
Yeah. I'm going to say that it's not as bad as I thought. He looks more He-Man-like than I was worried that he would. So I'm going to say I'm pleasantly surprised, because I was expecting worse. I do understand where Tom is coming from.
I'm
But
like
from
3 seconds
everything
from
we have
blowing up
seen,
here. I don't know.
It's better. It's better than I.
Fuck
Than
this
I.
movie. Why isn't it on Earth in the first goddamn place? That was
Well,
the
that's the
problem with the
question.
original.
That's the question.
Sorry for
could
those listeners in the fucking
Listen,
headphones right now.
modern Hollywood normally have cast Timothy Chalamet in this role.
Oh.
I'm not
It's
joking.
not even that. It's not even that, dude. Like, you can have the perfect casting across the board. The original film did. The problem with the OG film was, what the fuck are they doing on Earth?
Yeah, that's the problem. That was the problem then, and that's the problem here. And my big worry here is that much of the movie is going to take place on Earth. Now, the hope here is that it's just the setup is on Earth, and after that, he's a fish out of water in Eternia, which is still lame because he shouldn't be a fish out of water.
I've
in
never even
Eternia.
liked that his mother has a connection to Earth, to be honest with you. That's something that they could have gotten rid of that I don't care. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's a fantasy world. It belongs in a fantasy world. Eternia is a fantasy world. It doesn't have to connect to Earth or reality in any way, shape, or form. In fact, there's no excuse for this. The excuse in the 80s was, okay, it's going to cost us way too fucking much to shoot in the desert for too long. Okay? So I get it. They wanted to shoot and dump water nowhere because it was $10 compared to $10,000, right? Like, I get it. But now there's no excuse. I don't care if they shoot this in front of a green screen. Like, have you seen the opening to Thor Ragnarok? That is what Eternia should look like.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
How
have
hard
more
is that?
money.
Yeah. So, of
Yeah,
course, this is an issue that Earth should have exactly zero connection to the story. So,
It kind of feels like they're going to be poking a little bit of fun at the whole.
And that's what's got me worried too.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back and you look at the Paul and Paula Blart Mall Cop shots, I mean, this looks like Melissa McCarthy or something. This looks
You know what
comedic.
this looks like it's going to be? It's going to be Barbie 2.
Yeah,
They're going to try to
does.
barbify this. And it's like, no, that's not going to work for this.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, though. That's the plan.
yeah, and that does have me worried.
Mhm.
Because stuff like that, yeah, they treat it as a joke a little bit. In other words, they're trying to make excuse for the movies that they're making.
Yeah.
But but Paul, to paraphrase what you said, when you are making a movie like this, you have to believe in it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be making excuses for it. Can't be hedging too much.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am very wrong. I
Well,
hope this
maybe
isn't
it's a little
Barbie
James
2, but
Gunn Scooby Doo vibe. I mean, I don't know. I just think
even that would be wrong.
Yeah.
And that to me just tells me the wrong people are making the fucking movie.
Yeah, it's
Because
a
we
very
have-
good director, though. So that's like the thing. But he's working off an ancient script. So here's to hoping that he's able to make lemonade out of this.
Well, my problem is again, I feel like they're going to end up going at this as a parody, as a satire, like Barbie was. where that's not gonna fucking work for
No, that
this.
won't work. You can't do that with this property.
Nope. You have to treat it completely.
Well,
honest.
maybe what they'll do is
I
they'll
hope
try
I'm
to tell
wrong.
you what real manliness is, not just muscles and good looks. It'll be something about.
But the only
nobility.
reason I'm afraid of that is, and I know I hope you're right, Chris. But the reason I'm afraid of that is this movie finally, after being in development hell for the better part of 30 years, finally got some steam underneath it when Barbie hit big.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, and that's what I'm feeling.
Was it just a rumor that Chris Hemsworth was originally being cast?
I think he was one of the ones way back in the day as
Okay.
being eyeballed, but I don't think he was ever officially attached to anything. Andre, you would know better than me on that. But
Chris Hemsworth, no, he was never officially announced.
Okay.
Quite the contrary. He was like, yeah, this is the person that we would love to have, but since he's already Thor, we're not having him. So
Right.
insofar as I know, he was never actually attached. There were talks, they were leaked to the press, but there was never any kind of...
I think they were talking to one of his brothers too, weren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing. They were talking to the team of Hemsworth, that they were, but not the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to take this kind of property seriously. And I would put it to you, one of the reasons the live action Scooby-Doo worked, I loved it, I loved the first one especially, was they actually treated it seriously. They didn't treat it as a parody of Scooby-Doo.
Decent. Yeah, it takes it very seriously. And the uniqueness of it was, it's like, okay, we're going to do a Scooby-Doo episode, but what if the ghosts or monsters are real?
Right.
And that's the twist that they took. And I was like, okay, so in this, though, it's just, you got to, I'm not saying it has to be completely serious, but you cannot take the Barbie movie tone and apply it to He-Man and expect it to work.
No,
it's kind of like the same thing you have with trying to apply the Batman Begins tone to Superman and expecting it to work. That's not how it's going to work.
You already know it's going to fail on that point because you can't set Eternia in the real world. You just can't. It doesn't make any sense to. And so the fact that they're relating Earth as it is, as being intrinsic to how He-Man operates, and then having the contrast between the two, it already diminishes the whole thing and makes it a joke.
Well, the sad part is this whole thing is coming full circle because Andre has to leave us, but I know he knows where I'm going with this probably. This is basically the same plot they were going to use for the sequel back in the day.
Yeah, kind of.
That ended up kind of being reworked into Captain America 1990.
And Cyborg.
Well, yeah, what was left, the Cyborg thing was more or less the sets and all that kind of stuff, not so much the story, but
Yeah, the story was reworked into Captain, and that's something that we exclusively uncovered in our Masters of the Universe retrospective. No one really made that.
So if you're curious what Masters of the Universe 2 was basically going to be, it was basically going to be Captain America 1990, where He-Man and Skeletor had been on Earth for years, and He-Man had amnesia and didn't realize he was He-Man.
And Skeletor was an industrialist, and He-Man was a surf bro on the beach and a university college player, football.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold my judgment until we see Jared Leto as
again
Skeletor.
I hope I'm wrong. I do. I really hope I'm wrong, and this is just me freaking out for no good reason. But Andre, before you take off, anything you want to say to everybody?
Have a great February 14th and Valentine's Day, everyone, and have a great rest of the stream. Be sure to check back for more videos over the course of the weekend, and check out Latino Slant after the stream, which redirects there.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into some super chats and see
Andre.
what you guys are talking
Take
about.
care.
Out there.
Andre.
Take care, Andre, and we'll talk to you later. Patrick Robinson says, thoughts on Lithgow as Dumbledore in the new Harry Potter TV show. Yeah, this got brought up the other day. I don't know if it's official yet, but I guess he was in very serious talks, according to the headline I remember seeing.
That'd be
I
cool.
don't think this is a bad idea.
Oh,
Paul, your brother's going to be in Harry Potter.
I think the issue is that he's not British.
He had plenty of
but he
practice.
can do the Italian accent from Bakuro Bonsai.
Didn't he do British in Cliffhanger?
He can do a very good British.
He can do British. He did Winston
African.
Churchill in the he did Winston Churchill in The Crown. So
Yes.
he's had some practice at
that's
his
right.
British
There you
accent.
go.
So
He's a good actor.
yes,
Well, he's actually an Earthling, but he played an alien.
that's true.
Or is he an alien who played an Earthling?
Oh,
Dirty
very
Rock
good.
from
Yes. Oh, nice. I think that's the only controversy that anybody's had about Lithgow playing Dumbledore.
I love
Great actor.
John Lithgow can do anything. Look,
Oh, he
he's
can.
somebody where it's like you're naming a bunch of people. It's like no, nobody could do this. What about John Lithgow?
Yeah.
All right, I'm thinking. Let me think on that.
And he
Now you got
started
me
off
curious.
doing mostly bad guys.
Yes.
Wasn't his first role though in World According to Garp, or am I wrong?
I'm not 100%, but you know what's funny is he almost was in Ghostbusters. He almost was Doc Brown. I mean, this man has almost had a different career altogether. And he's one of those guys that never really never really got enough credit for
Well, he's
how
such a
good
great
he is.
actor. He just probably went and auditioned for anything and everything, and everyone that saw him was like, "Good God,
Yeah.
this guy's good." I don't know if it's right for it, but
He spends
think
a
he
lot
was
of
even
time
up-
on stage.
yes.
And as I think it was
Fantastic
brought up in the chat, I think he was even considered for the Joker in '89. That's correct, I think. Too.
Wow.
Yeah, he was almost a lot of people. But yeah, no, I think if anything, he kind of deserves it. Like it's about time he gets something like this. I can
His
see the
greatest,
fans.
his greatest role was the king in Shrek.
Yeah.
Man,
Where he
he's
kinda-
funny. He is so
where he-
damn funny.
Farquaad. I was trying to think of his name.
Yeah,
Farquaad. Yeah.
And what was his name in the Doctor in Buckaroo Banzai? It was Emilio
Lizardo.
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 Emilio Lizardo. Oh man, that was so over the top. Hey, big booty. Anyway, what a strange movie that was.
Yeah. So all right, let's keep rolling along here. It's interesting. I guess we'll have to wait and see if this is official, but it sounds like it's pretty much a done deal. Mr. Godzilla says, if this opens less than projected, how bad do we predict the second weekend will be? Because if Ant-Man 3 had a bad fall after its opening weekend. Oh, that's a good question, guys. So how bad do you think the second week of drop off is? I'm going to predict 47-ish%, if not maybe a little more. What do you guys think?
I haven't seen it. I can't.
I like.
I'd say more because I just don't think it's going to have a very big opening to begin with. But what you're saying,
I
Chris?
think it's going to struggle to reach 100 in the second weekend.
Me too. Yep. Scribe, any predictions?
Oh, I'm terrible at predicting box office stuff. I couldn't tell you.
I'm waiting for I'm waiting for Doge to dig in to find out what the real budget was.
Oh yeah, the real budget, like $450 million or something.
You know, that's funny. There was a post by Rob Liefeld, who, of course, recently got very pissed off at Disney and Marvel.
Yeah.
And he commented on a post about the box office prediction of Brave New World like a week ago. And he said, this movie was shot 4 times. Okay. And of course, immediately the Disney shillbots and trolls had to come in and defend the movie and say, no, it was not. No, it was not. And, you know, it only cost this, it only cost that. And, but it's amazing how
it was only reshot once for 22 days. That was the other excuse they were saying too. Did you see that, Chris?
Yes.
They're like, show us where it says. It's like, sure, we don't have any official statement where it says that, but you have every single actor and crew member in the movie talking about how they were reshooting and reshooting and reshooting.
It just amazes me that there's anyone who wants to spend a moments of their time defending and coming to the aid of correcting the record for Disney or Marvel at all. I mean, like who cares? Why do you care what Rob Liefeld thinks, how many times the movie was shot, what the budget was? Why do you even care that you want to come in and say, no, Disney didn't do that silly thing you suggest? They, of course not.
Oh, the shills are going after him right now just because he came out against Marvel. I'm sure you know that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what that is. That's all motivated by that.
One of us. Rob is one of us.
Yeah, he's not one of the Disneyphobes or the Disney peoples now. So he's
right.
Disneyphiles. That's the word I was looking for.
Disneyphile. Yes.
Yeah. So he.
Well, none of this is to say, Scribe, did you make a prediction or not?
Oh, no, I don't. As far as number of predictions go, the idea that $190 million they're trying to spread out over 4 days, as Andre pointed out in his video, is just cope. It's like we're trying to get the largest net possible to try to put the best shine on this turd as we can. It may surprise, people might be more curious than anything else to see what the whole hubbub is in the first day or two, but I think it's going to drop off pretty quick. And but ultimately, I think given what we know or at least suspect about the ultimate cost of this, not the budget. They keep saying, "Oh, it was $180 million budget." Yeah. Well, I can have a budget of $10 for a week and spend $3,000. It doesn't mean that I stayed within budget. So it's going to be a loss. Every review from everybody even people that want this to work, or the usual outlets that would otherwise try to give a rah-rah to Disney just for the sake of it, even they can't really bring themselves to say that this is worthwhile. So
Grace Randolph may have pulled it off, but
Yeah, well, but so as far as like a specific number, you'd have to go to Culture Casino for that. I don't have the statistics in my mind to be able to give you an estimate. It's not going to be good. That's my professional opinion.
Safe bet.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way, too. Here's another thing to take into consideration. The difference between this and Ant-Man 3. Ant-Man 3 wasn't a sequel to a fucking TV show that nobody watched.
Yeah.
At least that had the luxury of being an Ant-Man 3 for the most part. Like, there wasn't anything else that you really had to watch or be that aware of. Maybe Loki, I guess, to a point because of
this movie.
Bad guy,
this movie was already handicapped. Right. I mean, you
God.
mentioned Ant-Man 3, right? Well, what if Ant-Man 4, it's a new person playing Ant-Man, right? I mean, part of the attraction of going to see the Ant-Man movies is Paul Rudd, right? Who was exceptional in the first couple of times he played the role. And it was fine in Ant-Man 3, honestly. But this is Anthony Mackie. He's not Captain America. So when you start trying to compare this to Winter Soldier or First Avenger or Civil War, whatever you think about Chris Evans, he certainly embodied the role well enough. And that's who, if you are an MCU Captain America fan, that's kind of what you wanted to see when you go out there. So it would be almost like, I mean, do they really think Ironheart, the television show, is going to meet Iron Man numbers? Of course it's not. So already this movie is handicapped. It doesn't help that it had 5 writers. It doesn't help that they've gone back for weeks and weeks of reshoots. It doesn't help that they play it so safely politically that really it just winds up being some bland thing in the middle. The movie's not going to do well. They just need to get it out there and get it on VOD and move on. Marvel, I see no corrective behavior with them right now.
The original sin of this and so many of the other Marvel projects over the last couple of years is that they're basing it on already failed iterations of characters in the comic books. They didn't need to have test audiences for a Captain America movie with Sam Wilson as Captain America. The test audience was the readers of the comic books when that idea first came out and bombed spectacularly.
Yes.
There wasn't a built-in audience for it. I mean, in the case of Guardians of the Galaxy, that was effectively like a benign property. There was nothing great about it. There was nothing terrible about it. It was just sort of this neutral playground for Gunn to play with when it came out. So you could take a property that isn't well known and turn it into something. But if you have a property that's already proven to be unpopular amongst the very fan base that you're trying to cater to, why would you make a movie about that? Why would you make a TV show about Ironheart or this Captain America and so on? So it was doomed from the beginning.
Mm. Well, and you can't do everything that the comic books do. You see so many times where some defender of Disney Marvel will say, well, they did it in the comics. Yes, they sure did do it in the comics. But just because they did it in the comics, back to Paul's comment about, gravity and physics, sometimes what you do in the comics is not going to translate to cinema. Or television for that matter. And it feels like there's just sort of this, well, we can't afford Chris Evans anymore. What do we do? Well, let's do what the comics did. They put Sam Wilson in as Falcon. We can do that too. Well, okay, yeah, they did it. Did anybody happen to read that? Did anybody look at the sales numbers on that?
And they overlooked the fact that they didn't do that until what? 50, 60, 70 years?
I think, right, after 75 years.
Yeah, and somebody would know that too. It would be Yellow Flash, yeah.
Hey!
How you doing?
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing, brother?
The man knows his
a lot
lore.
better because I haven't watched this movie yet.
Yeah, we're just doing super chats now, but we were talking about more of the box office than anything.
I have a copy though. It arrived late last night.
Are you an official reviewer?
Not until tonight when I watch this piece of shit. I just watched Critical Drinker's review of it. Looks like it's pretty awful.
Well, it's at 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, if that means anything anymore.
51%. That's like controlling interest.
The only two Marvel movies below that, I think, are the Eternals, and can anybody guess what the other one is before I get there?
Ant-Man
World?
3?
Or
Either
Ant-Man
Dark World
3?
or Ant-Man 3.
Ant-Man 3,
Marvels.
yes. Ding,
Ant-Man
ding,
3,
ding.
yeah.
We have a winner. That was it.
Yeah.
Ant-Man 3.
Subscribe.
There's no way this is worse than the Marvels.
Well, Marvels came in at 62%. Here's
Hey,
the thing
That's
about
because
that.
it has women in it. And
Right.
They gave it
The
higher
Marvels
score.
has the upside of being under 2 hours long, too.
Well,
So it's the shortest of all the Marvel films.
the Marvels, yes, that's right. And Yellow Flash is absolutely correct. It has the shield of the double X chromosome. So
The Marvels is absolutely one of the
That's a
worst
different
fucking
kind of
movies.
shield.
Not
double
just
X-Men.
Marvel movies. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The Marvels.
Like
It
a
was-
Maxi
now,
Pad
worse
shield.
than
Huge pile
Love
of
and
shit.
Thunder. Worse than Love and Thunder.
I mean, that movie at least had Thor in it.
Okay.
Oh no! Some of these newer films are making the worst of the old Marvel movies, like Iron Man 3 and Love and Thunder and shit, like really good films now.
Yeah.
Or at least decent movies.
I mean, at least Thor is in that movie.
Yeah, you got a point.
That's true.
Hell, even Love and Thunder made the Dark World so much better. Right? Like, you watch-
Dark World's aging pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I was at
Yeah.
least able to finish Dark World. I couldn't finish Black Widow. I couldn't finish
Dark World's
Oh, God.
Shang-Chi.
not a good movie, but it's tolerable because the two leads in it are so good.
Yeah.
I enjoy anything
Yes.
with those two together. Like that's
Well,
why I like the third one
It
so
actually
much.
seems
Just
to have some
because
stakes to it. You actually
Hems-
care about
yeah.
the characters.
but
and-
Hemsworth and Hiddleston are great actors. They're good in those roles.
Yeah.
And
Those
excellent
two
chemistry,
together was
too.
amazing. Yeah, they're great
Yeah.
together.
They just fucking get it over with already.
Oh, no.
Well, that's what Paul was thinking. I just said it out loud.
Okay. So wait, you're a medium for Paul's thoughts now?
Sometimes
Oh, okay.
Lord
so Paul,
knows
you're-
that he just like I was thinking that, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh, okay. So Tom's the walking Ouija board for Paul's internal monologue. Okay.
Well, I'm 25% gay, so if I crank it up to 50% gay, that pretty much gets me where. Paul,
Are you gayer than Luke Skywalker though? That's,
Oh
No.
Oh no.
Luke Skywalker has always been a gay homosexual, according to Mark Hamill.
He would throw up on Mara Jade if he had the chance.
I hope.
Okay.
I hope if I have the privilege of reaching 90, I'm as funny and energetic and carefree as William Shatner. Let me tell you.
He still has me blocked. You know that?
Well,
Oh.
what
Yeah, he
did you do to
blocked me
get
too.
blocked, Tom?
I don't know.
What were you
I
guys
don't really
doing
know.
to him?
Nothing. Usually, I'm pretty. When it comes to him, I
It's
I've never
going to
said
be one
anything
of his
bad.
peons, Tom.
probably.
Shatner likes me. I'm not blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to like me, and then suddenly I got blocked.
Yeah, and you're Canadian. Ram Bam
I know.
3000 sends in £5 and says Killian Maddox in Magazine Dreams puts me in a mind of Chris Dickerson, the first black man to win Mr. America and winner of 15 bodybuilding titles. Okay.
Yeah, I finally saw the preview for Magazine Dreams. I think it was delayed because of all the controversy and case
I'm
against.
not aware of this film. Okay.
Oh, so this is Kang the Conqueror. I suddenly forget his name, the actor's name.
Oh, okay. So now I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I think it's based on a true story of a real guy who just became obsessive about becoming the world's biggest bodybuilder and all this other stuff. So it's kind of an obsessive Rocky-ish kind of arc, I think. At least that's what I gained from the trailer. But yeah, this was supposed to be the big Oscar run for what is his name? What's the actor's name? I suddenly just blanked. Kang the
Jonathan
Conqueror.
Majors.
Jonathan Majors, pardon. Yeah, so this was supposed to be Jonathan Majors' big Oscar run with that film, and I think it was supposed to come out either just before or just after Ant-Man Quantumania or something like that. But because
Yeah,
of
it got
the
delayed or whatever.
it got
I
delayed or
couldn't
put
remember
off.
the name of it, but now that you mention him,
Yeah,
Probably
so,
would have got a Oscar until he tanked his career with that crazy woman.
Yeah.
Because he has pretty good range for an actor, which not a lot of them have.
He's got pretty good range for a punch too, I hear. Thunderstorm sends in $4.99, says this was picked over making a Captain Bucky movie or Captain Hydra movie or a Hydra movie or a paint drying. Will Marvel survive woke? Well, they got to get to the other side of this year. I mean, that's kind of
You
where
still
they're
got
at.
Ironheart coming. That's going to be a huge piece of shit. But
Wonder
then
Man.
after that,
Before.
Daredevil.
You got Wonder Man.
Oh God, Wonder Woman. I forgot about that. Daredevil might be a saving grace. They put out a new teaser today, and I mean, I have my fingers crossed. I hope that it's good. It's not going to make me want to pay for Disney Plus again, but I mean, for the sake of the character and how that.
Especially now that you got to pay to watch ads, according to.
Oh,
Goddess of
exactly. That's so silly.
I got to be honest. If I would be excited for Fantastic Four if Pedro Pascal wasn't Reed Richards.
Yeah,
I would.
it was
Well,
terrible
I would be
casting.
more excited for it. I'll say that because I'm not very excited, so I would be a little more excited.
I would be more excited if Steve Buscemi was Reed Richards.
No, Steve Buscemi should have been Bruce Banner originally.
Hello,
He should have been
fellow
Bruce Banner.
scientists.
I'm just saying that if he was the Reed Richards, I'd be more excited than Pedro Pascal.
I would rather it be Harvey Keitel than Pedro.
Oh, there
Honestly,
you go.
I would
Buscemi would have been.
I would be
interesting
more
as-
excited if Norn Rad was Silver Surfer.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you.
There you go.
There's that too.
There you
yeah.
go.
That actually would that would be a better increase of my interest if Pedro. So
Ooh.
you could keep Pedro. and it just give me a normal-
Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just because they did something in the comics for
Yeah,
3
some
panels,
Fucking one issue comic that
Bring
nobody's
in
heard
Nova.
of until
If
they
you-
until they went to Wikipedia and read the entry. Now they're an expert on the film.
I
female
really,
Silver
I'm
Surfer.
looking forward to the day when somebody says,
Yeah.
that's cute. When somebody is able to say, well, here's how that went down, right? So they were at the meeting, they were at the pitch meeting,
Right.
and someone said, why don't we make this Silver Surfer a girl? I want to know how that went down.
You know what's even funnier about this drawing is this was made so long ago. We didn't even know that the Smurfs movie was opening up against the Fantastic Four at the time.
Who drew this?
If I remember right, I think this was sent to me by.
It's gonna get crushed by
Oh
Fantastic
gosh, it's
Four too.
been so long ago now. I'm trying to remember who sent it to me.
Yeah, that's
the
a,
Smurfs-
that's a terrific Warner Brothers
It's actually
style.
credited on the original one we used it on, though. So
It's a terrific Warner Brothers Animaniac style version
Yeah.
of Silver Surfer.
What's after Fantastic Four? Armor Wars, or is
That got
Oh.
put on ice.
okay?
Yeah, that got.
So
that
it's
got delayed.
Doomsday.
They're gonna have to
That's
save
done.
it until
That's done.
after Secret Wars when they can bring back all these
That's why I
characters that
feel
people
like-
care about.
Well, they're doing
They-
Doomsday before Secret Wars. So
Yes,
there's- so
Doomsday's
there's
part one.
Doomsday
it'll-
will be the destruction of the universe, and then Secret Wars will bring it
I
back.
guarantee you, anything that was in Ironheart that led into anything else has probably been cut. That's probably a lot of what the reshoots were about with Captain America 4 was not just to try and make it watchable, was they probably had to work around all the stuff they had set up that they're not doing anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Because we remember, like they got Jonathan Majors and all that stuff had changed a while. Now there's rumors again that they might be trying to bring him back, but I don't know if that's even the case. What's the point? Especially once you get to Doom, you don't need him anymore. And Andrea said it, and other people have said it who've seen the second season of Loki. It's like you kind of got him wrapped up now. You don't really need to do anything else with him. So in that sense, they could just move on from there. That's their best bet is to try and reset this thing with Secret Wars at this point and do a complete
Yeah, they're going to merge
reset.
universes into one, and that'll bring
Yeah.
back a
That'll
soft
bring the
reboot
X-Men.
of Iron Man and Captain America and all these characters that they should have
Yeah.
never killed.
And,
Yeah,
and
a
they bring in
convoluted reason to recast. It's just a convoluted reason to recast, which they could have done without any kind of fanfare, like a James Bond movie or something previously, and just said, "Okay, Chris Evans is handing over the mantle to this person, and we're just moving on like nothing happened, and don't even make a comment about it."
Yeah. Well, let's see what the chat is commenting on. Accident Seller sends in 50 Norwegian krona and says, Chatto, the
Yeah.
Enterprise D could turn on a dime in the
It
last
bugged me.
episode
Yeah.
of Star Trek Picard Season 3. It
That
felt
was
way
terrible.
off. It zigzagged way too much. No inertia
Yep.
and gravity.
I the moment I saw that as they were exiting the whatever the bad guy's vessel or whatever, and they were going through the. Anyways, yeah, it was terrible. It was like I went fuck. There are
They're
moments in
They're not
episode
really
3
naval
which were
battles
good.
anymore.
Pardon me, what?
They're not really naval battles anymore.
No.
No.
Because I mean, the ships in the old shows were like models, but you know, they use the excuse they turn real slow, like.
Well, that's what I
like
love
big
about Wrath of
battleships.
Khan, right? Like that battle that they have is like
two
basic-
subs. Yeah.
2 subs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 2 submarines, but Khan doesn't know how to dive. That's what screwed him.
He's not thinking fourth dimensionally.
There's his patterns recognize two-dimensional thinking, sir.
That's
Jim.
right.
Great movie.
Yep, I agree. That did really, for me, stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. Let's keep moving along here. Thank you so much, Accident Cell. In fact, he just sent a brand new one in. It said Silver Surfer since TNA, or will they nerf that too? Well, I'm sure it'll be. Who's playing her again?
The blonde
From the Wolfman.
Yeah, she's
Good
cute, but
Garner.
tiny.
Yeah, I was going to say she'll probably look just about like her then.
It's a shame because Surfer's got such a cool history. They could have actually done something neat with maybe a Guardians crossover or Nova or something like that. But
Everything Kurtzman touches dies, sends in 14 South African Rand, says, so soft rebooting Rings of Power to try and correct. I haven't seen anything about it yet, but I did hear that they did say that they are going forward with season 3, which is no surprise.
Oh, it's supposed to take place 15 years after season 2, which I did not watch. So I don't know what's going on there. I didn't even watch season 1 really, other than
nobody cares.
The last episode, which I accidentally watched for FNT. I watched the wrong episode.
I do have that animated one sitting.
I think I watched Critical Drinkers recaps of it. That's about all I ever watched of it.
I watched them all. No, I gave up after episode 3 and then watched the last episode.
You just jumped to the end like a bull.
Any regrets, Paul?
Absolutely.
The 4 hours he wasted watching it.
Regrets.
Yeah, the 4 hours that he'll never get back, especially at his age.
Yeah, I got to be careful with the time I have left.
I don't blame him. He'd be like, fuck this. I'm not wasting an hour on this shit.
Nope. I'm watching anime.
Or anime. There you go.
That's what I'm doing.
Sean Carter sends in 5 and says, this makes me remember the SNL's Trek skit. Hard to starboard, hard to port. Yeah. The old SNL sketch. Dash Attack says, I'm reviewing the movie for my channel. My thoughts could have been worse, could have been better, should be Hulk 2. Well, it's a bridge movie, unfortunately. It's not even a real movie.
Never going to get Hulk 2.
No, never. They'll never give Hulk any decent respect he deserves.
How can you when Mark Ruffalo is playing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's a shitty Hulk.
The 2 Hulk movies are the best we're ever going to get.
The best one he ever did is the one where he's barely Hulk in Love and Thunder. What do we get, like 5 minutes of Mark Ruffalo on that?
I liked him in Ragnarok, all right. But he's hardly, is that what
or
you
not
mean?
Love and Ragnarok, that's what I
was going to say, because he's Hulk most of the movie. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and I love the Hulk stuff, yeah. Joe Pat 87 says, no, don't stop me. More diminishing returns. Exactly. And thank you for the member chat. Robert Montoya says, Taylor Sheridan is asking Texas lawmakers for taxpayer cash for films. Thoughts? Does Hollywood only survive on public dole? Well, this is kind of what part of what I think Sly and Mel and John Voight are all about is they're supposed to be trying to help bring back movie business to California. It's not just outside of the U.S. It's in the U.S. itself, too. There's more films shot, in Georgia and other places than in California anymore. I know Paul knows that Canada has a huge industry because of this, that you shoot a lot of American productions up there.
Yep. It's because we have huge sound stages up here now.
Well, and the taxes and the dollar exchange and all
part of
that
it has
stuff
to do with the size of the soundstage.
Size does matter, of course.
Yeah, it does when you're dealing with film.
Yes, it does. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. They've always had some sort of. This is why they follow the tax incentives. Basically,
that's been going on for a long time, and California shot themselves in the foot because Gavin said that we'll give you a tax advantage as long as you follow this DEI protocol.
Right. First, they taxed their business out of their own state, and then now they're saying, "Oh, you can come back, and we'll give you these advantages, but you got to do it this way."
You got to checkbox your production.
There's a lot of states that will give tax incentives for you to shoot there.
Georgia gets tons of tax incentives.
Peachtree states. I think the Peach State. I think Taylor Sheridan's probably just looking for. Look, I'd like to shoot in Texas, but if it's cheaper to shoot over here in Georgia, that's what we're going to do.
He probably shoots there more than anybody else when you think about it, because he's got like 8 shows running.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. I don't
not
see
all
this,
of them, I think,
I don't
shot
see
there,
this as a USAID type public dole thing. It's
No. But yeah,
big
he is.
business.
It is a thing where, like, yeah, I said they chase the taxpayer. But as Taylor Sheridan being somebody who shoots all these shows there, he's like, hey, I'm bringing all this business to Texas. Can't you guys cut a brother break?
Well, not only the business of just the productions themselves, but also the tourism and the other people getting excited about the idea of Texas or Texas territories and things based on these shows, and people moving there or just visiting or wanting to see where it's all made, kind of thing. So there's a whole bunch of extra incentives around that you could justify or try to leverage against state governments to give you a break.
Oh yeah. Visitors Bureau.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
Tourism,
probably what that's all
tourism.
about. And then anyway, Accident Seller sends in another 20 and says He-Man is on Earth to attend the You Said protest. Oh. It looks about like it. Cannon Barnes says Lithgow was better of the two as Lord Farquaad.
He was great. Yeah.
And that was a burn on Zegler. He says, oh.
Weird.
Oops, I hit
man.
two buttons at once there. I didn't mean to. And Angela Richter says, or gifts a membership. Thank you for that. And then we got Accident Seller who says, I hope He-Man's chest piece is the Red Cross. I doubt it. That symbol is far older than the Yahtzees, just saying. That way, get the symbol back from the ugly 30s. No, it'll be the H now. I guarantee it'll be the H
If
now.
anything.
They
They've
take it
had
out of
that for a
everything.
while. Yeah.
No.
Even some Japanese stuff. They like Zelda used to have the cross on his shield, or Link did, and they removed that too.
Link, yep.
Yeah, Link had it in
trying
the
to
first one and
remember.
the second one.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I'm
In
actually
fact, they even called
surprised.
the Book of Spells the Bible
Oh,
in Japan.
Oh
And
no.
then they changed it.
it is
I'm
a book
actually
of spells.
surprised that on these redos of these older ones, like even this one, the cartoon version, they actually do have it. I'm surprised.
Oh,
There you go.
I am very surprised. I thought they would have changed it.
What's the official name of that symbol? I always think of it like the Iron Cross.
The Iron
but I know-
Cross, I think, was what it's called now. But yeah, the original.
Yeah, I don't know
name,
if there was like an original purpose for it, or I assume it originated in like the medieval times or something. But
I think it has something. Yeah, I'm shit with history, so
oh yeah, exactly. I mean, some symbols are just like
I think it did have something to do with the Knights of the Round Table or something like that, didn't it? Germanic symbol from the early 1880s.
it's from Prussia, right, or something?
The only history Tom cares about is the production history of the Batman.
You're wrong. I only care about 98 Godzilla's production history. Get it right.
oh man, that's a lot of fish.
Tom hates on the Batman so much I'm convinced he like secretly likes it.
Hey, did you not watch the show last night? I didn't say anything good about it. I just said, there you go. I will admit that it looks like the production is set for later on this year. We'll see if it actually happens. But thanks to the Penguin being a success, you guys are going to get your Batman 2, sort of, I guess, by 2027. But yeah,
I hope it gets
Oh, I can't
18
wait.
sequels, Tom.
Oh god.
it'll be lucky to finish this one, dude. Accident Cell. Thank you again for that. I don't have the answer to that, but do you?
Daryl
No?
Brewer in the Maltese
say?
Cross or the Templars Cross. That's what
That's
I
what I
thought
was
it was.
thinking. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Knights Templar. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the whole thing is, okay, and this is why I was thinking that, and this is, so it's not like I'm kidding or making shit up. The whole thing is, it's basically King Arthur. The sword.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, in parts. I mean, it's a combination of Conan and a
Yeah,
whole bunch
he
of other
gets
things,
literal
yeah.
power, but like, yeah, it's that part too. Like the whole sword is
Yeah.
supposed to mean, him finding out who he is and all that stuff. Anyway, yeah. Anyhow, moving on, we've got Joe Pat 87 who says, no, don't stop, more diminishing returns. We got this one already.
Yes, you
Yep.
did.
I'd
Must
rather
not
get
have
a King
bopped it.
Conan movie than a He-Man movie.
Who wouldn't?
man.
But it's happening.
Would
That's
you
what we
want
can do.
Jason Momoa to play an older Conan?
No.
No, I'd want Arnold to come back and play
Nah,
an older
it's
Conan.
over. Arnold's
Yeah.
over.
You could do
I would
an
too. I mean, they
old-ass
should have
Conan.
done it 10 years ago.
Screw you, feed them. Okay, I didn't.
But don't
mean that,
worry.
but
Well, that'd
Between
be
the-
appropriate for Conan.
Between de-aging
King.
and CGI, we'll get a King Conan movie. It's just that Arnold will be dead by then.
Okay.
the most I can say is this: there was a possibility of it happening. Arnold was the one who basically got in the way of it happening.
Mhm.
We've covered this in our
But
documentaries.
he acts like he was trying to make it happen.
He was after the fact when nobody cared.
Okay.
See, that's the problem. When people were into it and the studio was behind it, he decided he's going to go run for governor instead.
Oh, it was kind of like
and then when he
was,
came back around to it, he was right after Terminator flopped, and nobody wanted to work with him.
So it's kind of like the whole screw your freedom. So back then he didn't really care, but then after everybody got mad about it, he's like, oh, that was a terrible thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
You
to
think
fuck
he
you
would have
up.
read that script and said, "What? I'm not going to do this." That Terminator movie.
But I want to be interior.
He probably doesn't
decorator.
even read the scripts. Gets an agent.
It's more about how many zeros are
How
added
much
into the-
grapes for children?
Like honestly,
Get to the
though,
chopper.
I did when we talked to.
I love the idea of replacing John with young woman.
When we talked to the guy who does control the Conan stuff now, though, which you can check out our interviews with. I mean, he did say that never say never. There's, but at this point, it's really kind of wonky. But like, I kind of got him to basically admit that, yeah, it's not a bad idea to have like Schwarzenegger come in and do like narrations for a lot of stuff or something like that for like a young Conan story or something like that. And of course, we did beat the drum of we want King Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, so do I.
Or they could take that AI CGI model they used for Terminator 3 and just age that up. We don't even
There you
need
go.
Arnold anymore.
Exactly. Yep.
Or even if you do it animated so he's cheaper, like that's the thing, just have him do the voice
sure,
or
okay.
something like that.
Well, I think that would be cool if they did it with sort of a original heavy metal aesthetic,
Exactly, yeah. I know like the chances of it happening are so slim because, yeah, it's just.
I almost just don't want them to do it
Politics.
because, I mean, if Hollywood can find a way to screw it up, they will,
They're just having a hard enough time trying to get the new Conan series off the ground, so yeah.
As
And it
long
has
as
more
they
to
don't
do with
start the movie
politics.
with him getting shot in the face, I think we're on a good track. Compared to what they did with that last Terminator, I don't think I've ever felt as angry watching a
Me either.
sequel as I did with that Terminator movie.
You mean like when John Connor gets blown away in the first
For
10
no
minutes?
good fucking reason, yeah.
no
and
good reason?
basically-
Literally destroying the legacy of, I think, one of the greatest action movies ever made.
Yeah.
Terminator
Not
2
just-
still holds up. It's
Yep.
a fucking fantastic movie. I think it's one of the, if not in the top 5 action movies ever made in Hollywood. And it's such a good action movie. And you just pissed it away to make some 90-pound Latino woman.
Well, that's what I said. You
fucking
basically
The
made
Chosen
Sarah
One.
Connor a complete failure just so you could build up this other bitch.
Blame Jim.
Yep.
And I remember them talking, there was sort of like, oh, Edward Furlong is going to make a brief appearance in the
just
new
so we can
Terminator.
shove a dick in his ass
Yeah,
right
pretty
away.
much. Yeah, so we can rape your memories of the.
I would have
best
rather it
sci-fi
just
movie
been
of all
the other
time.
dude. They brought him back as an adult and then just done future movies. Why not? Or a series of just John Connor in the future.
Well, they
third
tried
one.
that.
Yeah.
They tried that. And they
And that
failed
movie
at
was
it.
good up until the third act.
That movie, I'll never, like, they're doing bonfires in the middle of the woods while these sophisticated robots are patrolling the area. It just didn't have the dread that, they
It
set
was
up in
great
that
up
first.
until the third act.
In the
though.
first Terminator movie, they're like hiding in like little holes with German shepherds because they're afraid
Yeah.
people are going to come down.
Yeah, but that's like.
But in
is
this
supposed to be
movie,
like
they
10
can just
years
have-
before that, though.
They can just go start. 10 years. I'm sure that's when they got the advancement
That's what they
of
should do. Is
scanning
what
technology.
I'm saying, though. I'm not saying it's good, Flash. I'm saying that it was a missed
You
opportunity.
talking
I'm
about
saying they fucked it up.
Salvation?
Yeah, I'm
Salvation,
saying-
yeah.
It had the right idea, but it went the wrong direction. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you. It was
It
just
You
has-
shouldn't be able to sit around a campfire in the woods. Like
No.
that should get you brutally murdered.
But my
by,
point is, at this point,
scouts.
quit trying to deal with the fucking past and just jump into the future and fuck all that shit. Because this is in a completely different timeline than the world we live in now, right? Like that's the way they need to treat it. Because that's the problem with all those sequels is they had to kept trying to reinvent when fucking Judgment Day happened. It's like no, like the perfect ending to all those films was actually Part 3. I know people don't like Part 3, but that's what I love about Part 3 is it has
Yeah.
a
Talk
sci-fi.
to the
ending.
hand.
And there's actually
it's just-
there's actually a pretty good fan edit of that makes it.
Well, just
tolerable.
basically the ending of guess what? Doesn't matter what you do, Judgment Day is going to happen.
Right.
This is all going to happen. It's all going to circle around on itself. Sorry, end of story. So at that point,
Well-
you end that series and you move on to something different.
Well, this is the same argument we were having about why the Jurassic Park movies keep trying to reinvent themselves when they should just go to the next logical conclusion of what they've already established and say, okay, dinosaurs have taken over the earth. people are now the minority in the population, and we're going to have an apocalyptic survival series for 3 movies
Instead
and
of
just kind
finding
of
a new
round it
island,
out.
yeah.
And instead of finding a new island and everything else, it's like when you start, you can get away with these isolated low stakes instances if it's a one and a done. But once you start branching it out into a wider world and affecting other things, either you follow it to its logical conclusion or you just get stuck in reboot territory forever.
No, you're 100% right, and that's where the problem started with Genesis and beyond. You're not wrong.
And unfortunately, I have to split.
Yes, you do.
right.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to give you your out here. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody, thanks for hanging out and having me on and everything. Just a programming note. I have now confirmed. I have it right here. It's special edition. Paul Chatto will be joining me Tuesday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time on my channel for what I'm going to call the first in maybe a spotlight series of TED Talks. He has a favorite TED Talk. I haven't seen it.
Ken.
Oh my
Ken
gosh.
Robinson.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That was more than I expected.
Could be your first and last.
Yeah, it could be. He has a favorite TED Talk, not one that is implicitly questionable, as I usually take a look at, but one that he recommends, and I haven't seen it. So we're going to watch it together and absorb what it has to say. And that'll be on Tuesday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll have a link for the show itself up in a little while, and looking forward to that. Elsewise, Sunday, I've got my Sunday stream in the morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll go over news of the day. And I'm, at some point, probably Monday, I'm going to have another instance of my now digest show where I'm collecting all of the news on DEI, which I call DEI Death Watch, as we take a look at stories that concern the, thankfully, slow in coming, but grateful that it's happening, demise of diversity, equity, and inclusion philosophies in the country and elsewhere. So that's what I got. And happy Valentine's, everybody. Or Palentine. If you don't have a Valentine, I hear friends are also helpful at this time of year. So happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Everybody on the panel, Chris, Paul, Flash, and Tom, and Andre, and Absentia. I hope you guys have a good rest of the weekend. And I'll talk to you later.
See you soon.
Bye guys.
All right. We got a few more super chats left here, and then we're pretty much done with that stuff.
Good.
Packet
We can get back to working.
Yes, Packet Proton sends in 5 and says, "Don't forget John Lithgow in a Santa Claus the movie.
Great
He stole
villain.
the scene for free. When
Why is everybody so
Christmas
mad about him
too?
playing Dumbledore? Is it because
I
he's
don't know.
Who's
American?
mad?
Yeah, he's
I
American.
guess there are some people
Who
online.
cares?
Paul.
I don't give a shit about
Who's
that.
mad? Is it like Brits are mad?
Yes.
Welcome.
Hey, he's a great actor.
Yes. They should be lucky to have
That's
him.
what we said. That's what
Yeah,
we said.
he'd be a great Dumbledore. You put a beard on him, the dude's fucking up there. For an American actor, he's way up there.
You know
We're
what I
all
said,
on
Flash?
the same page.
I said he's
Flash.
one of those actors where you're like, nobody could play this role, nobody ever. Well, what about John Lithgow? Okay, now I'm thinking and listening, like, because you're like, he's one of those guys, and I brought up how many roles he almost played that were famous for other people, but like, yeah, I agree with you. He's a very underrated actor, and what's wrong with it? He can do a British accent.
Yeah, he did. He played Churchill.
Churchill. Yeah.
I mean, the age, I guess some people were saying. I mean, what?
That's a perfect age. Dumbledore's an old fart
Yep.
and gay.
Yep.
Oh, and Lithgow could pull off gay.
Oh yeah.
Flaming.
I think maybe they want Harvey Firestein.
Hey,
That would be a very interesting Dumbledore. Let me tell you.
Let me show you a few tricks for a candy bar.
I love Harvey Firestein.
I know.
And he can sing. For someone who sounds like his voice is ready to die, he can really belt it out. He's good.
I don't think
I'd
I've seen him
probably-
in anything since Independence
Mrs.
Day, honestly.
Doubtfire. He was in
You
Mrs.
need to see him on
Doubtfire,
Broadway.
Independence Day.
Okay.
Well, you know what I felt bad for him, and I felt like he got screwed over, and I probably would have enjoyed the Hairspray musical had he actually got to reprise his role from the stage play instead of John Travolta playing his role.
Yeah.
Because to me, it kind of defeats the whole purpose having John, because that's kind of the joke is you like, I mean, Firestein, he's the perfect person to take over the divine role. It's like he went and did that. Like, no, John Travolta, no. What? Anyway.
You know what? But even worse, he was in La Cage aux Folles on Broadway. And he would have been
Oh,
way
it'd been great,
better
yeah.
than than oh God,
Nathan Lane,
no, Nathan Lane was right for the role of the
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Mm.
Oh, so he played the Robin Williams part?
Because the that was an example where you had two actors that kind of looked the same and had two of the same body types. And in the original movie, the French one, you had two radically different body types. The female impersonator was actually a huge man, which is part of the joke, right?
I'd actually love to see Nathan Lane and him do that. That would have been probably pretty
Oh,
good,
Nathan
right?
Lane and Harvey Firestein and Lacage, I think. I mean, I'm trying to remember who played on Broadway with him.
I don't know. I didn't even know he did it, to be honest with you.
That's because I like Broadway musicals.
Well, I don't pay attention to it, but yeah.
Hey.
He is 50% gay. We told you this at the start of the show. This is not a surprise.
It's our special Valentine's Day episode.
It is Valentine's Day. And Mr. Godzilla's in the house and says the test audience was the comics and they failed. Thank you. That has been my biggest issue, and they are doing 2014 current characters and they're hated. Yeah, we've said this so many times.
It's
Flash
ridiculous.
has said it a million times.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no fucking sense to anybody but them. And even them, you got to question, does this really even make sense to you?
It's like the only characters that they're keeping, to match what the comics put out are the modern characters. Even Wonder Man's not the same anymore, and he's 40 years old, right? Captain America's not the same anymore. But Ironheart, we're going to make sure that's comic specific. It's foolishness.
Yeah. And then we've got Accident Seller again. Says Yellow Flash, only T1 and T2 are canon, the real deal. Yeah, I can't argue with this.
Oh, there's a 3D movie that's canon. Hold on.
Well, and some people like the series, but my problem with the series is you got more time travel shenanigans to try and make it work, and it never got to finish.
That's the worst part. It was pretty good.
Yeah. It never got to finish.
You didn't need Sam Worthington or Jai Courtney or however you say that. Just clowns. Worst actors in Hollywood.
No. And then we got Jesus, who gifted 10 freaking memberships. Thank you so much, Jesus, on that. And everybody, pluggers your ears and close your eyes if you don't want any Cobra Kai spoilers whatsoever. This is a slightly minor-ish to major one coming up here on the screen. Sonic times 2 says with $2, thoughts on Cobra Kai season 6 ending and no swank. Well, I'm not going to say anything specific, because you already spoiled enough there with the last part, and I was kind of disappointed that they didn't find a way to work her in when I could. When I found at least 100 times that they could have, and their excuse was we just couldn't figure out a way to get her in this. It's like bullshit.
Liars.
Liars. But then it makes me wonder if she's not going to pop up in the Sony movie, in the one with Jackie Chan. Anyhow, as far as the rest of it goes, I felt it did a pretty good job sticking the landing. I just felt like the final season was very bloated with the Saikai Taikai.
Did
stuff.
anyone with the Cobra Kai production team ever admit, and they may have, and I missed it, but did they ever admit that this TV series was inspired by that really clever YouTube video that What If Daniel was?
I think they did kind of. I think they gave it kind of. See, they've pretty much. My memory from our interview, they said it was a collection of the music video that was done with him. There was the character on the show was always beating that. There was a famous speech he had where he did the similar thing, and I don't know if that actually inspired that video or if that video came out separate of. And I think they have acknowledged it, but I don't know if they've said that video was the reason why. But it was all those collective things it sounded like, and there is even like this really kind of funny little wink moment in the show at the very last part where there's a restaurant scene and you have the producers sitting at the table and they're clearly talking about and pitching the idea for the Cobra Kai show.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like background noise in the scene, but you're passing by them in the table and you can hear them like, oh yeah, we worked with Johnny on and we could totally put that together and blah, blah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to finish the series.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. It just, like I said, it just felt like they over bloated it with that tournament stuff, but it came together at the end. So other than that, did anybody else watch it besides me? I don't think anybody did.
Nope.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to get on out of here. Anything going on, Chris, that you want to plug?
Just get over to Bleeding Fool. We have that second run news and news after Midnight's Edge comes out with it. We do as our current top story. We're talking about that Chinese animated movie that is the first Hollywood animated film to cross $1 billion, non-Hollywood film to cross $1 billion.
That's the one you mentioned earlier, right?
Too. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Otherwise, just the usual.
Oh, somebody's phone's going off.
That's me. Sorry.
Thanks for playing.
Just picking on you.
Oh yeah, sure is. So it's got a fun trailer on here. I think everybody should check it out. It looks, honestly remind me a little bit of Kung Fu Panda, but much more in line with Chinese mythology.
So kind of like a Chinese Pixar film is what
It's
it is?
Exactly what it is. Oh
All
my
right.
gosh. You got to get an ad blocker, Tom.
I
Come
do,
on.
but I didn't bring it up on your thing.
That's fair. That's fair. We do appreciate the clicks on those ads, though, I must say.
So this is Naza 2 then?
Yes, it's a sequel.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to see Naza 1 first.
Yeah, now check out that trailer when you get a minute. Obviously, it's just
I'm
2
going
minutes,
to.
but it looks really fantastic. So, and it comes out this weekend too. So tonight. So better. It'll probably be subtitled, but I still think Brave New World needs to watch its back.
Yeah, between that and Paddington, it might have some
Might
competition.
get crushed. Yeah.
Because look, a lot of the kids they might not give a shit anymore about Captain America. They may rather go see the bear.
I mean,
never
Red
know.
Hulk looks cool. Don't get me wrong, but
I just don't know if there's really any interest in it.
yeah, I think we're tired of it.
But Paul, speaking of interesting, anything you got coming up that's interesting?
I'm hopefully going to do another appalling news item with the Canadian version of USAID called Global Affairs. There's an entire category of LGBTQIA plus programs that added up to more than $40 million worth of complete waste of time. So
Okay.
I'm just finishing that off today. It took me a few days to write the jokes because I had to ponder how dumb each one of these entries were and what exactly the joke was. So I think I've got it. It's going to be very funny. So that will hopefully be available later on today. More adventures in government spending taxpayer dollars.
Can't wait to check
Sounds
it
like
out.
a gay Valentine's gift for all of
It
us.
It
is
could
very
very
gay.
well be, but this time it does not involve any kind of sex toys.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Well, that's depressing.
Keep it
And
clean.
it's funny. There are certain sex toys that if you mention them on YouTube or X, you will get flagged.
What are they? Just
I'm not
kidding.
going to tell you because then you'll get flagged. Chris, are you
Drop it in
trying
the
to
chat.
bring
Drop it in
down?
the chat. Yeah.
Okay, I'll okay, I'll put it
Thank you.
here.
All right. Well, that was awkward. Flash, what you got going on? You got
That's it. That's it for me. Sorry.
I saw it.
I
Yeah.
figured you got Flashcast tomorrow night, right? Any videos or anything you want to plug?
Not yet. I don't know what I'm
So
going to
to
do my next
speak.
video on.
All right,
Subscribe.
well, check out the ones he's already put out there and
Subscribe to Yellow Flash
subscribe
and to Chris
everybody.
Brawley.
And check out Midnight's Edge After Dark. It is a completely different channel. We do stream over there 3 times a week usually, so check it out. And with that, check out all these guys and take care of yourselves and have a happy Valentine's Day.
Bye, everyone. I got a
See ya.
proposal to finish.
He's going to go propose to some guy.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given.